Welcome to the Performance Enhancing Podcast. It's like steroids for your brain. A podcast for people looking to live life at their peak potential. Chock full of real-world tools and knowledge that you can apply in your life today. By providing you with a lens into the lives, beliefs, practices, and actions of those who are already living extraordinary lives, the Performance Enhancing Podcast will help you shift your mindset or create that change in your daily rituals and habits so you can explode with success in the areas of life that are most important to you. So get ready for another dose of Performance Enhancing Podcast with SatoriPrime. Here's your host, Guy Ferdman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Pep Talk or Performance Enhancing Podcast with host Guy Ferdman. We're about to delve into part 4 of Marci Lock and Guy Ferdman's conversation. I highly recommend, if you haven't caught the first 3, to go back and do so. Probably one of the rawest, most insane conversations. And just so you guys know, Marci is a master manifester, like crazy. And it's just amazing to be able to listen to how she creates and where it comes from. So in this part, they're going to talk about how you're programmed from a young age and how that cuts off your expression and experience in life. They're also going to talk about what their missions are and their whys, and then ultimately end with a conversation of how to think big and manifest big. So enjoy the last part of Marci Lock and Guy Ferdman's conversation.
Yeah. And I just want to tell you guys that the exciting part for me when I left that experience and all this stuff started getting activated was, you could call it spiritual, you call it whatever the hell you want to call it. Yeah. This is a biological phenomenon that's happened to me, and it just requires training. And the thing that I'm doing to activate it, continue to pursue this, is very simple. Like, it's an extremely simple practice, like to the point where it's so simple you'd be like, that couldn't possibly be it.
But that's just like controlling your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How simple is it to manifest? Well, I choose what I think.
Yes.
I choose what I speak.
Yes.
I choose what I feel. But
Yes.
we as society made it hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the exciting part for me, and I know she would echo this too, is, we're big proponents for starting to create movements where this is in the ether, in the conversation, because we understand the power of enrollment and the power of an idea. Like, Marci and I will fucking die one day. Whether it's tomorrow or 7,000 years from now, and we'll do this shit again. Yeah. But you know what? The ideas don't die, and they've permeated through our species and through our history for very long periods of time. I will tell you this, like, from a personal perspective, and I hope, like Marci's here, so I know, like, she's got a good audience, and a lot of people watch this. My messages from ayahuasca have been that I am the one. And like significantly so, and like that I can play a major role in terms of what occurs next on this planet. And I intend to continue to develop myself to play that at the highest level that I possibly can. And really all that means is, like, I don't believe that I have this ego enough to think that I can solve all the world problem by myself. But I want to stand up and be an example for what an enlightened, transformed human being could look like in this time in history. So that we can stand up and identify other people who are willing to play this game with me. And I know there's many out there who are significantly smarter than me and more capable than me, but that's fine. I'm not about trying to be the best. I'm just about trying to be the best I can be and give speech to authenticity on this planet so that other people have space for it too.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to tell you.
Giving them permission to show up as well.
We
asking for it,
look,
and calling it.
Yeah, we curse, not because we think it's cute, because it's in us. We love, her and I wear exclamation points and periods. Some people are apostrophes and commas. Like, we're all about, like, the punchiness. We don't got time for bullshit, right? So
we don't fuck around.
So, like, this is the way we choose to communicate, but this is authentic for us. And whether it turns you on or turns you off, that's for you to judge.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for you to judge. Now, at the end of the day, here's what I want to tell you. I've seen, like, again, like looking at relationships, if Marci and I get in a fight and we don't handle that responsibly, what we're saying is, let's sweep it under the carpet. Hopefully enough time will go by where we both forget this shit happened, and then there won't be an impact on our relationship. And I know a lot of you guys are doing this in your relationships, whether it's yourself or with other people, and it's like, no, there's a fucking impact. All the time there's an impact.
It already created a perception that I'm going to operate out of and create a disconnected energy and everything.
Absolutely. Even if that's just in the subconscious part of you living, that subconscious part is manifesting issues all the time. You can't get away from the subconscious part of yourself. It's the most powerful part of yourself. So I've seen that there's been historical events like World War II, like what Hitler did, stuff like that, that are these conversations that we haven't completed, these relationships we haven't completed, that we're not willing to forgive ourselves for yet because we haven't done that work, and that we don't have any leaders at the highest level helping us to understand how to even do the healing work that's necessary. Now, in physics, we have a rule that two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. You can't build a functional relationship on top of fucked up things.
Yep.
And what we have is a whole bunch of fucked up things throughout our history that we're trying to build a new society, new ideas on top of, and it really just doesn't work because there's no new foundation for us to build upon. And I'd like to start having a conversation for how do we heal as a society, as a species about these things, because we haven't forgiven ourselves. Guys, if you want to be a fully self-expressed human being, right? Full self-expression with your body, with your mind, with your thoughts, with your emotions, that means you can do whatever the fuck you want with all this, right? Now, if I do this with my arm, and I'm a Jew, right? So understand that from my perspective too. If I do that with my arm, I get incited by that. I'm like, oh fuck, right? Like I have shame, and I'm like it makes me want to vomit. If I move my leg too straight, that shit makes me want to vomit. If I see someone with an armband, I think Hitler. Like, I don't have healing around that. Neither do you probably. Now, that means I'm immediately limited in my self-expression, my full self-expression, and just how I want to use my body, because heaven forbid it fucking reminds me of something. Now, that guy is a fucking crazy person, but he was a genius, and he started something that idea has permeated through our history for the last almost 70 years now. We can do that again.
Yep.
We can do that again, but we can do it the right way and actually create amazing, beautiful movements all over this planet by enacting the same exact things that this man did. But it's going to start with us healing the shit that's not healed. Guys, that's what I'm here for. That's my mission. That's what I'm here to create. Yeah. So I'd like to share that with you because I that's what I want to enroll my community in. That's how I want to be looked at. That's what I'm bringing to the table. And I hope that if that message inspires you, or anything that we share that inspires you also, that you're like, I'm not ready to play at that size. That's cool. But at least if it inspires you, know that there's a game you can start playing in your life where you can get to this level.
That path and process.
Yeah.
You don't have to be great to start. You just got to start.
Yeah.
Great.
There's nothing special about me and this woman in like a biological sense. We weren't born with any sort of fucking gifts. Like maybe we're inclined. I'd love to actually ask you this question before we sign off. It's like I don't know where my I don't know where this fire comes from for me. Like there's a fire there, and it's just always fucking been there that I've always wanted to like serve. I don't really know what my motivation is. I really don't. Are you clear about why you're so strongly motivated?
Well, you and I have had conversations about my purpose of being here, right? And like being that, I've come back several times to shift the consciousness of the planet.
Yeah.
And so there's inclinations I can go back to and go, when I was a kid, like you look at my traumatic experiences, which we talked about, trauma being this beautiful catalyst for if I didn't experience these things, I had experienced this amount of trauma to be have this range, right? Of like, we're sitting here and like, I've got this beautiful house and backyard and we're chilling in San Diego, and I came from where it's like I had to grow my own food to survive at a young age. And so there's this range and this understanding. And I had inclinations of times when like my, like being almost, had attempted like kidnappings, rape attempts, stalker, almost killed several times, was like, I knew I had this inner knowing, you've been saved because you have more to do, right? Like there's a different passion, purpose. Now you might go, I can see this going on. All things are true, so I could have this answer and say, oh, there's this and there's also this. Now there's a part of me that says like every single one of us has a genius. Now, are you choosing to, again, find that genius, to share that genius, to be able to express and say, this is what I do? Every single one of us has that. Now, and on top of that, I know, I'm one of the 12 that's meant to shift the consciousness of the planet. So have I chosen to align to the gifts and the genius that is in me, that I'm here to serve a purpose? You might say some people are attuned, like you're the one. And I 100% believe you. And I'm like, you share it, spread it. And I'm like, yep, you have amazing genius and ability. And it's like, here still like, share that message of what you are and what you're calling into, so that the more people can draw to you and have that support. So you have a specific genius, and which breaks out us that there's no way we could ever compare, right? Like you said it in so many simple ways. We're no different, and yet we are.
Yeah.
Like I'm not special, and yet I'm fucking uniquely, divinely special.
Totally.
The universe is like my one energy is sending out a vibration that literally I could come to the place of going, just me being here, choosing, if I chose to just put out that vibration of change and love and this, I'm shifting the planet right now. I don't ever have to be, or express myself in any other way to be, anything other outside of me, and I'm already perfect. That was the message I shared with my boys in our journey, was like, anything else is a lie. You're perfect and complete right now and in anything you ever do. And to the same retrospect, we know we could sit here and meditate all day long. And instead, are we going to go actually take action and create it? And so being, how do you follow that inspiration? I think it is to go, oh, this is what I feel inspired to do that I can go do. Because if I compare myself to you, it's never going to work. You're 37.2 plus trillion unique cells, right? Like, have your own experiences. Even you and your brother that are from the same family are so fucking different, right? Twins are so completely different. That's why comparison doesn't work. And any of these stories or conformities or parameters of our society just don't work. So I think, of course, every single one of us, first off, every single one of us has the opportunity. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you're the one, and so you get this opportunity and they don't. Right? Every fucking person has the same opportunity with time, with abilities, with, it doesn't matter where you came from, who your family is, etc. We know that's all story. It comes down to the simple truth. You're like, I can do these things with my body, and it's so simple. That's what people think is crazy. We're making it hard. It's so simple that am I willing to control the words that come out of my mouth, the thoughts, the vibrations, what I choose to focus on, how big I declare myself, right? So yeah, every single person has the opportunity to do it, and each of us has our divine genius. That's not to say like, well, you know, you got to wait to know like, well, what's my purpose? Well, God, just tell me what my purpose is. Well, your purpose is just fucking experience this life in whatever way you want. What do you find along that journey depends on how open you are, how much it can be feedback, how you shift those perceptions, how deep you want to go. So all things are true.
Look,
right?
we're I would just say we trust and we listen. You know, and we like listen. And this is stuff that's taken, at least me, it's taken me a long time to get to. And it's funny, like, and the moment you have the experience, it's just like balance. It's like, oh, that was easy. You know, like maybe getting balance on that bicycle wasn't like the process might have been like dealt with overwhelm, frustration, and all these other things that come along with it. But like the moment that experience is in, it's in.
Well, and I think ultimately what it comes down to, the reason we're at where we're at, we have the results in life that we do, where you and I are both like, whoa, you live in every aspect of your life. You've got it handled. You've broken through the bullshit around money and your body and relationships and all this stuff to experience this, because results don't lie. That's the main thing I want people to hear, is like, results don't lie. So, you know, if you're not experiencing, if you don't have the results, there's something to look at, right? And, you know, it's not just like, there's not just one answer we're going to deliver here to be like, okay, so how did you attune to your genius? We both studied this for years and implemented to this beingness and understanding of being in this place. So if you're not experiencing it, get on the path. I mean, that's it. If it calls to you, you know, I know you do coaching, I do coaching. There's several ways and process. If we're talking about ayahuasca, whether it calls to come down with us into the jungle and do it, or to go find your own experience of it. And, you know, there's things we want to say, make sure it's the right experience. And there could be a whole talking around that. Yeah, it's a choice, right? It's simply a choice. Like, what do you want to experience? What do you now choose to experience? Cool. What are you going to do with it? Awesome. Did that answer your question? I don't even know. Right?
I just like the conversation.
Okay, but share.
I'm grinning like an idiot because of that.
I want you to share your, like you were getting into, and we got distracted like we do. Like I'm like, we could go anywhere.
It's fine.
As to what your movement and message really is. Like what you're calling in.
Yeah, so for me, again, like I had a really clear message about healing around World War II and Hitler and how much it's transcended, but I can look back through our history and see that. But what I've also seen is, you know, we talked about that network of conversation. Now, that idea can radically change the world. That ability to share radically changes the world and does change the world. Like, I don't like to talk about Donald Trump, but he's also enacting those principles right now, which is why he's created such a movement. Maybe not in the most positive way, but he has. So if we look at creating movements, symbols have always been key to our society. Flags and crests and, you know, all these different things, right? To like unify us behind a movement. And I thought, like, you know, Hitler did a really good fucking job of that. Like, you can't think of a swastika and think of anything else. And, you know, he did it with armbands around Jews. And again, like, really strong symbols that are burned into our memories. Now, I was like, why don't we do that? Like, if the healing is done around that, we can forgive ourselves. Like, why not create a movement of people who are dedicated to a few principles in their life? And a lot of the principles I'm talking about are things we're talking about here. It's people who take responsibility, who see themselves at the source of creation, not as everything's happening to me. It's people who have integrity and live by those principles. It's people who understand the subconscious training and are committed to developing that within themselves. And I'm about creating a movement which will have something to do with like a blue triangle or something, a blue or a green triangle. I haven't decided quite yet. And it's just a movement where we can identify you as one of these people. Because when I was 19 years old and I had my awakening and I'm not doing this to demean it because my awakening was extremely powerful. When I had my awakening, I got, again, like universal truths become really obvious at certain quantum leap moments in your life. And in that moment, I saw a vision of a world, and I was living in New York City, or in Boston at the time, and I imagined like walking down the street, and I have like clearing exercises, and what that means is just like when you have like, you're holding stuff in, it's just like just sharing it to like release and let it go so you can actually like intend and create and manifest. And I imagined like at the time I was 19 and like getting a job was a big fucking deal for me. So I imagined a world where I could like walk down the street and somehow identify people who suddenly saw this vision of the world that I had. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could just like, if I was like scared of something, like on my way to an interview, and I could just stop like this guy in the street and be like, hey dude, you got 2 minutes. But because he identified himself as this like person who stood for these principles, like one of the things is like you're generous with your time for anybody. And he would just stop and be like, yeah, absolutely, what do you need? And like really get present for a moment and be like, hey, okay, so I'm on my way to an interview. I just want to release all this stuff so I can go in there really powerfully. I'm worried about this. I'm scared about that. Okay, but what I'm intending and I'm creating is I'm going to fucking get the best job ever. They're going to give me a huge salary. Like, my life's going to change today, right? And then, like, walk in there with that. And I'm like, what a fucking world that would be, right? Like, if that's how we treated one another, if that was the type of community, you went anywhere on the planet where you landed, that's your community anywhere. And I've been like around Landmark, and I can tell you, when I go to Landmark centers, it doesn't matter where the fuck I am in the world. I'm in my community, whether I know somebody's name or not. So, and again, because I know what people stand for, what their principles are, what their integrity is, and the work that they've done on themselves because of that work. And that's the kind of world I want to live in. So, and whether or not, again, you agree or not, but like I know that there's people who would align with that. So my big vision is to create a movement behind symbology, again, like what Hitler did, but kind of in reverse. And just
Healing.
Healing instead of killing, right? And use this technology, use this phenomenology, use these subconscious trainings that have been around for a long time, guys. These are not like, it's not like her and I came up with this shit and we're like, by the way, you should split test this on yourself. And it's been around for tens of thousands of years, and we've just forgotten it, and it's time to remember. So I'm here to help you remember. This is who you are. And this superhero shit, this is who we are. These you can't show you right now because the phone's filming, but like this technology is in a pocket. That's a representation of powers that you have. This connection that we have to one another, that's a representation of that power. We have all that stuff. All that stuff is real. So I'm about helping us remember and developing that.
Yeah, I think ultimately this conversation was just to open up the ideas, open up the seeing the possibilities of what is really capable, not only with your body, with healing, with your mind, with connection, with source, with opportunity, with manifesting, with everything, and saying, wow, okay, yeah, how do we create that world to be that your experience? And the truth is, when as you align to this, you see that this is possible, and you go, okay, cool, like that feels good. I'd love that experience, and I start to move towards that. Again, we you're going to create that environment in the community. So I love the fact that you're just saying, this is what I want to create. This is the community that I want to create. These are the experiences that I have. I've said for years, and I mean, I went from literally like massive guard rejection with people, fear, etc., from having all the scary experiences. The world is scary, all those things too. I've said for years, I only attract the most amazing people. I only have the most badass clients. My clients, like today, like literally, we're like laughing on the phone. We cry together. We laugh together. They feel like family. They're like best friends. I don't have this experience in my head that like a client mentor relationship is this. Like it's literally like what is unheard of, and that's my experience with the most amazing people. So it's like, yeah, you showed up in my space 6 weeks ago, and we have the most amazing time together and the most amazing conversations and the most in-depth. Of course, I only attract these people into my space when I've just declared it.
Yes. And
I've said that this is what I want to experience and this is what's out there. Hopefully this just opened up some eyes for people. And a side note, literally, I'm like thinking about all, the beautiful gift of showing the feminine and the masculine and co-creation and people, how they show up. And I'm literally like, I know I have so many women that have these blocks around awakened conscious men. So even to see, I think you're a beautiful gift of women to see what an awakened conscious man looks like. And I get all the time, like I have this amazing, beautiful experience now with the masculine. And that used to be that I guarded it and I fought it and I was scared of it and all that shit that I created. And that's why my knee injury and all those things. Yes. And now I'm like, I only am so fucking supported by the masculine, which is so beautiful. And the balance of me and my feminine masculine. And in that too, it's like realizing that that's the experience that I can create. That I'm so supported by the masculine, and I have the most amazing, powerful men around me, and that always tell me, they're like, oh, Mars, you help me understand what a powerful woman in her truth is like speaking your voice, being heard, owning your power, and getting to be able to surrender into that and be the feminine and all that. And so it's like, if anything, I'm hoping people get to see, like you said, like fully expressing yourself, fully being an awakened conscious being. It's just freedom. It just feels so fucking good, and it's only fuck yes, and it only is awesomeness. And so all of this, if anything, I'm like, there could be so many gifts here.
Sure.
And I just appreciate the funness.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
we were just like, you know, we just love to hang out. Let's hang and let's push record.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, this is our lives. This is what it looks like on a regular for us, and we just love thinking big and having these discussions because it creates expansion for us too, like in what we believe is possible and sharing our possibility, just like sharing your possibility. It creates an aliveness and a realness to it that like I leave these things and I'm like, okay, where am I not taking action right now on this fucking thing that I said I'm going to get done?
Yeah.
You know, and I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with Marci, like that I'm like, and it's the little fucking things about our own belief systems and like, again, because like Marci to me, I've yet, if ever, met anybody who I think manifests the way that you do. Like I'm like kind of at awe at it, and it's like really beautiful thing. But then I'm like, where am I not allowing myself to say something where humbleness and sincerity is still like, okay, I can't say that.
Yeah,
like they won't, no, okay, like no. And I say a lot of crazy ass shit. Like you guys get like where my head's at. So you know, I love. Again, this relationship and spending time with you, I just so appreciate that we get to express big ideas, and we're both just like, go get it,
Yeah.
go get it, go get it.
You let go, and then I sit there for a long time, and I just listen, and you just, and then you let me go, and you're like, yeah.
I love it. So I think we'll close it with that because this has been ranting and raving for a while, guys. I really hope you got a lot from this. If nothing else, even if it just pushed the boundaries of what you believe is possible.
Yes.
And unless you have any closing statements.
No, like fucking. I actually, Kate.
Fucking fuck.
This.
Fucking fuck.
Fucking fuck. Today, someone asked me how I was, and now because like I'm literally operating out of a whole nother level of consciousness from coming back, and this whole nother level of expression and energy and everything, I was like, the only question for me now is like we already said, I live fucking fantastical life, like in every aspect of my life. I'm committed to awesomeness, and I was like, what's the word for above that? Maybe that's what you can assist me with, and everyone can help me with. Message me if you know what's the word for above fucking fantastical. That gets me creative.
Above fucking fantastical.
What's beyond fucking fantastical to express my experience now? Because I used to live in fucking fantastical and effortless. Now it's like, cha.
Okay.
There we go.
I need some thought on that.
Yeah, I know. I figured I'd give it to a genius.
We'll see what I come up with.
And let it come out. So if anything, I think we locked it down along with the airplanes and all that cool stuff.
Guys, thank you for listening. Oh,
we did it without taking our clothes off.
There's a first for everything.
You know, I tend to like strip when I'm on fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm on.
I haven't seen that side of it yet.
I'm on stage and literally like clothes come off, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, I am pushing boundaries in every single way,
That's
just
awesome.
so that people can project on me. Like, why is she taking her clothes off? And it's awesome. So
That's awesome.
You know, I think we added all sorts of value just with our clothes on. I think that's
Marci's
great.
the channel.
And you know, I did see the color of your underwear a couple times.
She did.
Yeah, you've been over, and I'm like, oh, you like to wear bright underwear.
Should I tell them about yours?
What underwear?
What underwear?
Is there?
Yeah,
There is
exactly.
none. We could go.
You guys know
all
the
over
color of
it.
her underwear too. Just look at her legs.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
This is awesome.
That was awesome.
Thanks for creating this. Love you guys.
Love you.
Talk to George.
Thank you for listening.
Lock it down.
Lock it down.
So that about does her. That wraps up the 4-part mini-series of Marci Lock and Guy Ferdman's conversation. Amazing insights. Thank you guys for all the feedback. Again, Elon at SatoriPrime.com. Feel free and let me know. Send them some love. And also, if you'd like, we'd love for you to leave a comment on iTunes and let us know what you got out of this and how we're doing here. So, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed this amazing conversation. And if this resonated with you or any part of it, please feel free to share this with your friends, family, and anyone that you think would get a lot of value from this. And until we speak again, have an amazing day, my friends.
Did you run through doors till you hit the floor? Did you read my eyes and my aching thoughts? Did you walk through walls till you had to grow? see